California is burning, and we're left asking, have we been fighting fire the wrong way all along? What if decades of fire suppression actually made these wildfires more catastrophic? Hey, world-wise wanderers! Today, we're diving deep into a paradox of nature and human intervention. California's wildfires are among the most destructive on the planet. But what if I told you that the way we've been trying to stop them is actually making the problem worse? And that perhaps the secret to saving our forests lies in fire itself? For thousands of years, California's forests were shaped by fire. But unlike today's megafires, these were smaller, controlled burns. Native American tribes like the Karuk and Yurok used fire as a tool. They practiced something called cultural burning, where they set fires to clear out dead vegetation, open up space for new growth, and maintain healthy ecosystems. Think of a forest floor like a layer cake. At the top, you've got fresh leaves and twigs. Below that is partially decomposed matter. And then, at the very bottom, rich soil. Regular small fires would clear out the top layer, return nutrients to the soil, and stop too much fuel from building up. But in the early 1900s, something changed. After several large wildfires devastated parts of the western U.S., the government adopted a policy of total fire suppression. The U.S. Forest Service had a slogan, "All fires out by 10 a.m." The idea seemed simple. Fires are bad, so we should stop all of them. However, this policy backfired. Without regular burns, the forests grew denser, filled with dead vegetation and overcrowded trees. And all of that dry material? It's fuel, waiting for a spark. Preventing natural, smaller fires created the conditions for the megafires we're seeing today. Instead of burning just the ground layer, modern wildfires climb up what's called a fire ladder of accumulated debris, eventually reaching the tops of the trees. Once the fire hits the crown, it becomes nearly unstoppable. Fast forward to today, and we're dealing with fires that are not only bigger, but also more intense than ever before. In fact, some of these fires are so large that they create their own weather systems. Something called a firestorm. The irony is that by trying to stop every fire, we've made fires even more dangerous. To put this into perspective, in the early 1900s, California's forests had about 60 to 100 trees per acre. Today, that number can be over 1,000 trees per acre in some areas. When trees are packed that tightly, they compete for water, nutrients, and sunlight, leaving many of them weakened and susceptible to disease and insects. But here's where things get really interesting. Many of California's ecosystems actually depend on fire to thrive. Take the giant sequoia, for example. These trees are some of the oldest living organisms on Earth, but they need fire to reproduce. The heat from a fire opens up their cones, allowing the seeds to spread and take root. Without fire, these trees would struggle to continue their life cycle. It's like nature's reset button, clearing out the old to make room for the new. Fire plays a crucial role in maintaining biodiversity, too. Different plants and animals thrive at different stages of regrowth, so a landscape that has burned recently will look very different from one that hasn't burned in years. This mosaic of habitats makes the ecosystem more resilient and adaptable. For thousands of years, Native Americans understood this. They knew how to work with fire instead of against it. They would set controlled burns during certain seasons when conditions were safest, and these burns would help maintain the land's balance. Today, many experts are looking back at these ancient practices for inspiration. Prescribed burns, planned controlled fires, are becoming more common as a way to reduce the fuel load in forests and prevent massive wildfires. However, it's not as easy as just lighting a match. With climate change making conditions hotter and drier, and more people living in fire-prone areas, the window for safe burns is getting smaller. So, what's the solution? Experts suggest a multi-pronged approach. 1. Increasing prescribed burns during safe seasons to reduce fuel buildup. 2. Mechanical thinning, removing excess trees and vegetation by hand or machine to help prevent fires from spreading too quickly. 3. Creating fire-resistant zones around communities by clearing flammable vegetation and using fire-resistant building materials. 4. Updating building codes in fire-prone areas to better protect homes and lives. But the biggest shift we need is in how we think about fire. Fire isn't the enemy, it's a natural part of the landscape. The question isn't whether fires will happen, it's when they'll happen, and how intensely. The good news is that areas that experience regular controlled burns are actually more resilient when wildfires do occur. The forests bounce back faster, and the fires are less intense. As we look to the future, the key will be combining traditional ecological knowledge with modern science. By working with nature instead of fighting against it, we can create healthier, more resilient ecosystems. So, what do you think? Should we be doing more controlled burns? How can we better adapt to living in fire-prone areas? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to Worldwise Wonders for more deep dives into the natural world's hidden paradoxes. Thanks for watching, Worldwise Wanderers. Remember, sometimes the best way to prevent disaster is to embrace nature's processes, not fight them. See you next time.